WDON1204.com. Community focused, globally connected. Find us online at Coleman Global. WDON is proud to present our latest podcast, The Colors of Sound. Our mission is to create a safe space for community members from around the world to share their personal stories. Listen on all streaming platforms or on our podcast station, WDON1204.com. The Colors of Sound podcast. Discover how much we have in common. Tune in as the LGBTQ plus elders of SAGE share their passionate stories of struggle, pain, triumph, and love. Available on all streaming platforms. The Colors of Sound podcast. Discover how much we have in common. Over the summer of 2023, Coleman Global partnered with Sage USA to bring the Colors of Sound podcasting workshop to LGBT plus older adults in New York City. The intergenerational sessions focused on finding your point of view and the art of storytelling. Each week, participants crafted their own topics for discussion, developed their own questions to help move the conversations along, spoke about podcasting equipment, and had brief discussions on how to market podcasts online. Throughout the workshop series, the participants shared their personal stories of both struggle and of triumph. We laughed about the things that are common in society and debated those things that divide our global community. Welcome to the Colors of Sound podcast. You are now a part of the conversation.
Yeah. As I've grown into my little young adulthood, I've been taking these holidays and trying to make them special for my family and my siblings, because after my dad passed, that just went with him, and there was just a lot of grieving. And when the holidays would come around, they would just grieve. Well, my mom mainly, and she's the top of the household, so she's just showering some of her feelings. They say when it's raining, that's they're crying up there or something like that. But yeah, that comes down, and that has an effect on everyone in the household. So I've been, doing Christmas myself. I've been decorating with the kids, having them do little Christmas activities.
Yes, that's nice. That's nice.
I'll get them gifts.
Do you all make New Year's resolutions? Do you have things that you as you get closer to the end of the year that you normally do, to wrap up the year, to start a new year? Do you have any, I don't want to say rituals, but I mean, traditions or anything that you do personally?
Yeah. Well, the only thing that I do is to make sure that I have money in my pocket to bring in the new year.
And they say keep pots on the stove, keep food on the stove.
Yeah, the black eyed peas is for this, and the collard greens are for money, and wait, what's this?
Black eyed peas for wisdom.
The who? Black eyed peas, yeah.
Yeah. And then they have this thing, they say let a man walk through your door first.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man work first.
Why would I want to in my house?
That's what they say. It's often saying that they say for New Year's let a man walk in the house first.
And say, did you get out
still
there?
got dirty clothes on. The clothes you got on is dirty.
You know what, that's another thing. I'm sorry. I'm not doing no laundry because whatever is there is going to be there the next year. Why I got to clean, but I do clean the house and stuff like that. But as far as, you're not supposed to have dirty, you're not supposed to have laundry hanging around for the new year. And I'm like, okay. I used to wash my clothes and make sure I didn't have anything for the new year. But now it's what the heck?
Yeah, I used to wash my clothes. I used to make sure I have pots on the stove. But you know what? When the year go by, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
I'm going to have dirty clothes. I'm going to have pots on the stove. So I just left that alone. I was still saying.
Yeah. I usually clean. I usually rearrange everything. That's what I do. Every time I feel like I'm entering a different chapter in my life, I just change my room around. But when I'm going into a new year, I write down and I remind myself what I did that year or what I'm proud of as well.
That's
awesome. Good. That's really good.
Or what we used to do, I don't know what we used to do is write down, like you said, write down your thoughts and write down what you want to accomplish for the new year. Put it in an envelope, and then New Year's Day, open it, read it, and this is what you want to do for New Year's.
What's everyone's favorite dessert?
Dessert?
Yeah.
I don't eat sweet.
Yeah, she doesn't eat sweets.
I used to eat them, but I was a fat girl. So I had to.
Really? Really? Oh, wow.
So what's another favorite sweet that you guys like for the holidays?
Champagne.
That is not sweet.
I like coquito.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Do you make
my
it?
Neighbor,
Coquito,
my
wake me up.
neighbor makes coquito. Oh my goodness.
Okay, what the hell is coquito?
It's a Spanish drink, and it's liquor and coconut milk and oh my God, it's so good.
If you do it right,
Yes.
if you do it right,
Yes.
you make it.
No, I want to this year though.
You should
like
do
a
it.
tradition. So, yeah. I mastered making the rice and beans, so I think I can do it.
Oh my God, that's
Awesome.
great.
Rice and beans?
That's great. All
And I
right.
add like bits of spinach in there because everyone needs their greens. I
That's
like
good.
tres leches.
That's one cake I can't eat.
It's so
The,
sweet.
yeah, the only thing I don't like about tres leche is the well, yeah. Well, if I do it, because then I'm gonna change it up. Yeah, I'm gonna change it up. It's that carnation milk part. I don't like the taste of that. Yeah,
Carnation milk, that's what we grew up with.
I know, carnation.
Carnation.
I know, but it's so forward in that tres leche cake. Like it's so like milky. I can't.
That's right.
Yeah. What kind of sweets do you eat? Even if it's for the holidays, do you allow yourself anything in the holiday season?
Sweets first. Sweets, all kinds.
You make your sweets, you make your cakes and pies.
I
and
make
stuff?
my plate, yes.
No, not your plate.
My plate.
Oh, she's celebrating.
Kind of we feel about chicken pot pie. Sorry.
I love, but it depends
It's
on
making
the
me hungry.
brand. Because I like Banquet, chicken pot pies. But anything else, it just tastes artificial or something. It just,
Don't taste like
KFC makes a wonderful pot pie.
who?
KFC.
Banana pudding.
So would you? Have you guys ever put out like a little digital cookbook for the holidays before?
No.
No, where everybody had would you be willing to submit a recipe? I mean, we could throw that together, and then just put it, in a space for people to download, and you can share it around with the other participants, and
Oh yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool, right? Like if you guys did like just one recipe.
I made the first one to get all the recipes. Then I know now.
That sounds like homework.
You can't tell.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And those are the people that eat a lot.
Right.
People that look like
right. You see them on their third plate, and you're like, how's it possible? Yeah.
It's his metabolism.
Sage leads in addressing issues related to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning, and other self-identifying members of the community aging. In partnership with its constituents and allies, Sage works to achieve a high quality of life for LGBTQ+ older people, supports and advocates for their rights, fosters a greater understanding of aging in all communities, and promotes positive images of LGBTQ+ life in later years. So how do you guys feel about community? What does that word mean to you?
It means, well, I feel like most would assume it means comfort, but in community, unfortunately, there is sometimes, it's like a map, and there's different kind of people, and people tend to box themselves in, so that's how you look at it, and sometimes people don't feel like they're welcome in community, but when you find your place, then you know that's your place. If you walk into a room and you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you shouldn't be there, then 9 times out of 10 you should get up and go because you probably don't belong there. Not because something's wrong with you, but you should go where you're welcomed and loved. So, and that's community where all the troubles are the same.
I mean, there's so many different ways that can mean, right? It's your family, it's the area you live in, it's your online community if you're a person that's active online.
The only main difference is when you work for someone else, and then you're in a community that you are pretty much depending on maintaining a lifestyle, real basic lifestyle. So that's a community that maybe you're not going to get all the warm fuzzies and the attaboy, attagirl kind of a motivator. So it's more of an inward thing. And being with other folks of that community. So there are communities within communities. So it's like, what would you call it, Marie? Macro and micro.
Right. That's right.
Right now, macro would be the LGBTQ community. Macro would be New York State, the United States, the hemisphere, the planet, the galaxy. It's all according to how far you want to go and then how small you want to go. Mm-hmm. Right now, this is pretty small.
Community is togetherness. Mm-hmm. I like to use the word togetherness when I think of community. Mm-hmm. Whatever that might be, you know, whatever you think that is your community, whether it's a religious community, you know, or a social community, but it's just togetherness.
That's right.
And I feel community is trust, people that I can trust in my community. Mm-hmm. You know, so like she was saying, you have a small community, and I have a small one, so I feel trust.
That's good. Have you ever had to walk away from a specific community or a space where you had defined that as community?
Absolutely.
Yes.
That happens. Yes. That's life happening. Mm-hmm. You outgrow a community, mm-hmm. you know, or you find that the usefulness of that community no longer applies to you.
Right.
So you move on, you know, you grow. Some of us get stuck.
Yeah.
Right there in that same community, and we never move.
That's true.
Because we are afraid, we're comfortable.
That's right.
And I want you to interject. I'm so glad I heard you all the way through. That was beautifully said. Now it's up to when you come to that epiphany. Aha, this is something I've outgrown. I now need to move on. So from the gathering, it's a 3 A's. I recently learned the 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and action. So we may be aware. It takes a while to accept, and then action. Ooh, sometimes the plan is big, sometimes it's small, but sometimes it can take minutes. Sometimes it can take decades.
That's right.
As long as it happens, you know. Many of us here, this is definitely an intergenerational crowd right now in this podcast, but most of us are learning that time is precious.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think, you know, I like what you said about the awareness, right? I think awareness of anything, like, automatically creates a wave of change, even if you don't outwardly act upon it, right? And I'll keep it like even just the conversation we were just having about the different types of milk, right? Coconut milk, almond milk, this and that. It was just my awareness of reading ingredients that I was like, wait a minute, how can I achieve this with less stuff in it, right? It's the awareness, but the action, it's is the harder part, because sometimes when you have an answer and you know what the action is you have to take, either you really jump on it and you do it, or you get intimidated by it and it's like, that's going to unravel a lot of things. Like, how do I how do I do it?
And in my estimation, it's about faith and prayer and that spirituality, which isn't religion. That can certainly be religion, but now we're talking about faith and prayer, mm-hmm. and knowing that we have been on this planet a long time. And for me, this almost 7 decades on the planet has taught me sometimes you can't see what you want, but with faith, it will be there. And when it comes, it's right on time. It may not be on your time.
It will rarely, let's go ahead and say, ever be on your time. Because faith, you're tapping into something spiritual, and in the spiritual realm, time is different, right? And that's the difference between planning for something and preparing for it. You can't always plan for something to happen when you want it to happen, but you can be prepared for it so that when it's the right time for it to happen, you step right into it.
I remember I had a community of us. We used to get together on the weekends. And we would just party and drink. And we did this every single weekend. I mean, everybody went to work, came home from work, got the kids together, did whatever, and we would do this every Friday. It got to a point where I was in my bed when I said, I can't do this no more. I'm tired. I said, I'm tired. So when I stopped going and stopped letting them come to my house, they got upset with me. They really got upset with me. They didn't really want to speak to me.
Because you outgrew all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when someone gets upset with you, it forces them to look at themselves because they're going to say, "Oh, you think you're better than I am." But you know, I'm no longer good enough for you. Which trying, you know, to make you feel guilt
And come back.
because it's uncomfortable for me. Because I thought I knew you. We did this together. I thought everything was cool. Now that you're stepping away, what's wrong with me? I can't say that. But now what's wrong with me? I got to get you back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're not thinking that it's you know, maybe she doesn't want to participate anymore. They're thinking, like you said, oh, you too good now.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, y'all been doing the same thing every weekend. And it's like, come on.
I mean, one of them got to a point where she smacked me. He jumped up and smacked me. We started fighting. It was crazy. I was at her house.
Telemundo.
She said, "You think you better than us, whatever?" I said, "I'm not." Yeah, I said, "I'm not better than you. I'm better than the problem." She said, "You better than what?" I said, "I'm better than the problem." And she tore off and smacked me. It was a fight in there, girl.
Oh my God.
You were all in her head, and you didn't stop, and you didn't, because it didn't. That wasn't the first clash. The first clash might have been calling or texting, and then it just got bigger. It escalated to a face-to-face, and she attacked you. You were supposed to have agreed with her when she first told you to, and she was used to you doing that, I'm sure. And then, oh my gosh, yeah. Good for you. That took a lot of courage.
Did you go back in the fold with that group of people?
No, I never went back.
No, well.
You got enough right. Who would go back?
Some people would.
Absolutely, if that's my normal.
Right.
So when you are in a traumatic kind of environment, you start to normalize things. Because everyone's telling you, don't talk about it, whatever's said here,
Yeah.
whatever you see here stays here. And then becomes a generational thing with not getting the help that you need. That was a domestic violence situation. So domestic violence isn't just a couple, whether they be heterosexual or homosexual, but it's community like we're talking about. And that community was very abusive. And I'm so glad you were able to walk away.
Yeah. I had to raise my kids. And I sure couldn't raise my kids with a bottle every weekend.
That's the first part of courage was that you made the change. The second part of courage is that you stayed the course. Once you made the change, you stayed with the decision, right? And I think that's what we were saying from before. That's hard for a lot of people because you fall back into patterns of behavior, right? And it's you grow accustomed, like you're saying, normalize. You grow accustomed to how someone speaks to you or how someone treats you, or you know what I'm saying? And it becomes the quote unquote norm.
Share your story on the Colors of Sound podcast. Our mission is to create a safe space for community members from around the world to share their unique stories. Do you have an interesting story to share? Or perhaps a journey of triumph from a challenge that you faced? Do you want the world to know about your talent? Visit our website and complete our guest intake form at WDON1204.com. The Colors of Sound podcast. Discover how much we have in common.